Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and I'm gonna reviewing another book by John Ridley today. This one is the Batman One Bad Day series. This one's concentrating on Penguin. And yes, I've been talking about John Ridley a bit recently because we did GCP The Blue War yesterday, and I could really talk about him more now. I could talk about his social political stuff and his idea of capitalism, criminality, and classism, and various things which are very, very important to a read on this book, which I've taken from it. But honestly, I could spend the entire 5 minutes talking about that, and I don't think it'd be very good for people who actually want to know if this comic book is any good. So we'll deal with it vaguely later on, but for now we're going to start by talking about the art. This is Giuseppe Camuncoli. I apologise if I pronounced that name incorrectly. And as much as I want to praise the artwork, it's certainly excellent. It's not the reason why this comic book is great. There's a few moments where it shines in ways which are unbelievable, but they're usually the darker side of things. When there is absolute unmitigated violence, it comes across so brutal and unforgiving that it really adds to the story in ways I didn't think it was going to. It kind of took me by surprise a little bit. Because for the most part, the stuff I enjoyed about this artwork is just the character stuff. I really quite like the different looks at Penguin throughout various points of his life and as his fortunes rise and fall. There's really good takes on how the character presents himself to the world through their outfits and their costuming, and other background characters as well have the same kind of thing. But for the most part, as I say, it's only really when you get to the ultra-violence that it jumps off the page for me and makes me think that this artwork is actually, like, fantastic. Other than that, it's just absolutely brilliant, does exactly what it's supposed to do, not a bad panel amongst it, but it's the writing which shines, because if you watched my GCPD review today, you heard me say that his book on the DC Universe was my favourite thing he's done. Like, that actually properly made me rethink a lot of things and challenge what I was doing in terms of my politics and how I was using comic books even, not just in terms of how characters are represented, but also just how they're put together. Really, a fantastic bit of writing. This, I think, is better because he's doing something which I honestly was very, very happy with, which is the idea of creating a sympathetic character in Penguin, or in just in criminality in general, really. And that's easier said than done. I mean, if you look at specifically English kind of history, we have a tendency to make heroes of criminals, Robin Hood being the primary example of this one, but also the idea of the gentleman highwayman and various other characters throughout history, where it's the rogue with a heart of gold kind of thing. And they're easy to create as sympathetic characters. I mean, even if you make one of them a lord or whatever. But it's harder when it is actually the head of a criminal enterprise in a major metropolitan city who provides guns and explosives to known criminals and terrorists. It's hard to make that a sympathetic character because they're surely doing it for capitalistic reasons. They don't care about the suffering they cause. They are just there to make money because they're criminals, and they don't really worry about the body count that comes as a result of it, as long as their back's covered because they've got high-priced lawyers, etc., etc., etc. All the kind of stuff we know very, very well. But you can do it if you understand that criminality is not an inherent state of being. Nobody is really born that way. There may be people who have some mental issues where they, for instance, some people are incapable of empathy, and there's certainly an argument to be made along those kind of lines, but this isn't the case. We are definitely talking between nature and nurture here. And by looking at the Penguin's childhood and a lot of stuff he's gone through, and a lot of stuff other people in the comic book have gone through as well, we are getting far more that sense of childhood trauma and PTSD, and the idea that the world wants you in a certain way and it actually forces you to go against what you'd expect. Now, that's not to say it's 100% that way with Penguin. There is some rather nice moments where he kind of embraces the labels that have been put on him. The fact that he's a small little dirty animal, but it's in such a way that it never just goes for that's always what I was. There's no inherent like, yeah, I've always been this way. I've tried to pretend to be other things. It's more the world made me this way, and I fought against it so much while using it as a weapon. But now I've realised that if that's the way the world wants you to be, it will be the punishment to the world that saw me that way that I'll make sure they will never see me in any other way. But on that journey, he also grows. He makes friends. He kind of has a realization that to run an organization as big as his, that he actually needs to really think about his employees. And it feels like a very kind of like workers' conglomerate kind of thing being set up there for his criminal underworld. And it's really quite nice. But my absolute favourite bit is just a simple bit of writing. One of his associates, his newest henchman, at one point is pushed to a point of anger and draws a gun, fires 3 bullets towards his enemies, shouting, "Leave me alone, Tommy Quinn." Afterwards, another one of Penguin's helpers is outside. He's asking, "Who's Tommy Quinn?" When Elliot went berserk, he screamed, "Leave me alone, Tommy Quinn." Okay. It's the next bit of writing which absolutely sums up why I love Ridley. Like, this is just, in my mind, some of the best writing I've read in a long time, just as a small individual snippet of it. Because it sums up everything the comic book is about, and it does it with style that isn't condescending or pretentious. It's just brilliant writing. We all have our Tommy Quinns. Only it would seem Elliot's Tommy Quinn is actually named Tommy Quinn. I don't know why that got me as much as it did, but honestly, that is clever and funny, and it's everything I want it to be. Honestly, I love this comic book. Highly recommend it. Give it a go if you're looking to have access to one. That's it for me today. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.